Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the big one this time of the year. Here are my League 1 to 24 predictions for the 26-27 season. Who's going up? Who's going to get relegated? I'm going to go through every single team from 24 up to first, and I'm going to let you know my thoughts on every single team and how they're going to fare this season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's get straight into it. Please drop me a like, please drop me a subscribe and a follow on TikTok would be much appreciated. Let's get straight into my predictions. In 24th place and finishing rock bottom of the table, in my opinion, is Luke Williams's Peterborough United. For me, this side is a shadow of the Peterborough team we saw a few years ago. Their squad depth is just not good enough, in my opinion. 18th last year, conceding 68. They've lost Kyle Lisby, of course, their highest asset, and I just haven't been convinced. In terms of their transfer strategy over the last few years, it's not sustainable whatsoever. And I think I share a common view that this Peterborough side is on the way down in a downwards trajectory, and it has been for the last few seasons. Recruitment hasn't been sustainable, and you have to say they haven't improved their team from last season. So 24th for me. In 23rd, I have Gary Bowyer's Burton Albion, a relegation candidate that is shared amongst a lot of people. And I look at this squad at base value, and it's a squad that probably belongs in the bottom half of the division anyway. But then you look and analyse their transfer window. They brought in a few decent additions for the level. Curtis Tilt, Matthew Dennis, Corey Adai. But it's the outgoings, and there's several. Even, I think I counted 13. Udoka Godwin-Malief, Jake Beasley, Terence Van Kooten. Key individuals for a side that finished 17th last season, but survived with a few match days to go. And I just do not think that this side is good enough. And going into a season where they need to massively improve to stay up and to solidify a position, it's not looking promising whatsoever. And I think this side, for me, is destined to be in that bottom half of the table. Relegation for me. In 22nd place for me, and also getting relegated to League 2 this season, is AFC Wimbledon. And this was a tough one to consider, because in terms of their transfer window, I think it's actually been quite decent. A lot of astute signings: Stephen Sessegnon, Dan Sweeney, James Tilley and Zach Nelson coming in. So a few really key additions that do improve the squad in a few areas, but I do think they lack defensively still, and I also think they lack up top. Marcus Brown and Matty Stevens, I think it's tough to rely on them if you're going to stay up. Personally, I don't think this squad is good enough to move higher up the table. Then my final team to be relegated in 21st is the League 2 playoff winners from last season, Notts County. And it's been an interesting window for me. James Gibbons and Callum Roberts, I think, are decent and attractive signings for this level, but then they've also made some controversial signings, in my opinion. Emil Aqua, don't think he's good enough for the level whatsoever. Lucas Smith, bought in from a Finnish club, 22-year-old Australian striker. How will he hit the ground running? For me, it's the big stars they've lost in their team. I think Jatta going, I think Jaden Luca going, then I also think Tom Yopenda going back to Huddersfield. It's huge losses that really carried them last season. So many big contributions for Martin Patson's side from that trio last season. How are they going to replace them? You know, it's going to be incredibly tough in this competitive of a division. And, you know, you've got to get consistent wins. You've got to have spells in the season where you're racking up those points, even if you're surviving, because you've got to hit that 50-point mark. And will this side comfortably achieve that? I don't think so. I think, you know, they could fight for it, and that this is why I put them 21st. But it is 21st, relegation for Notts County, in my view. In 20th, Cambridge United. Neil House's side are interesting for me. I think that their transfer window, I've glanced at it a lot of times and I've gone over it, how I should assess it. I think it's decent. I think Callum Stead's a fantastic signing, but he is injured for a couple months. Gasser Mahadme is really inconsistent across his career. With us, I thought he was very poor, but the spell where he's worked is at Cambridge under Neil Harris. So if it's going to work anywhere, it's going to be here. Callum Perry, I think, is a player that could be at championship levels at Rochdale last year. So that could be really efficient and could really benefit them come the end of the season. But for Cambridge, I think it's just to not repeat the mistakes of their last League 1 campaign, because, of course, when you do come up from League 2, you want to make a claim in the division. You know, you want to be efficient like we were. When we came up and we went under the radar. We had this approach that not a lot of people could deal with. We were in people's faces. We were physical. And not a lot of teams could deal with that until, the turn of the year, really. And this is what this Cambridge side need to do. They need to bring their identity they came with, and they built under Neil Harris last year to get promoted. Lots of goals, free-flowing football, and also efficient at the back as well. And I think they could have a decent season, but I've put them in 20th. In 19th place, I have gone with Daniel Stendel's Barnsley, which may surprise and upset a few people. But 15th last year, 59 points, 73 conceded. And I only think that they got 4 clean sheets last year, which is, of course, a big thing that they have to improve on this time round, because I think the last few years, they've, of course, been the shadow of the club that we're used to, challenging at the top of the division. It's been a downward spiral. I think there's been a lot of key departures. Adam Phillips, you've got Owen O'Connell as well. You've also got David McGoldrick, the goals that he provided up top. There's a lot of decent incomings, but not a lot of players that are proven at this level. This Barnsley side need a stress-free campaign, and a lot of people think that maybe with Daniel Stendel returning that could happen, but I'm not convinced, and I personally think that this downward spiral is going to continue based on their transfer window, based on how I think that last season is so difficult to overturn and put right because, 15th, but they conceded 73 goals. And they need to improve their form. They need to improve their starting 11 because I don't think their team is of that top level either. And I think the downward spiral will continue. 19th for Barnsley. In 18th place, I have gone with the League 2 winners from last season. It's Andy Woodman's Bromley. And I am of the opinion that this Bromley side will go under the radar this campaign. I think they'll impress people. I think they'll be efficient like they were last year. And I make comparisons to us because when we came up, we were a side that, of course, went under the radar, defied expectations, and we finished 9th in that first campaign under Steve Evans. I don't predict this Bromley side to be that high up the table, but I think with the players they've brought in, it's League One experience, and it's what you need to solidify at the level. Victor Adebayejo, JJ McKinnon's a really good signing. Ethan Archer, very promising loan from Luton. Another loan is Richard Taylor from Bolton, of course, experienced last season at that top playoff level. Kamal Grant as well, on loan from Millwall. So a lot of experience that should solidify them at this level. Just Jude Arthur's, his departure, maybe a big miss in the middle of the park. I mean, in their second season at League 2 level, Andy Woodman's side took to the division like a duck to water. And I think this season will be a similar story in a way. I think they'll be efficient, they'll go under the radar, as I've said. They'll play their football and they'll get a lot of wins at home. I can see that this season. And their business backs it up. And I think it's the side that will be fine this campaign. 18th is a fantastic finish for this side. In 17th and 16th, I have 2 similar stories, in my opinion. 2 sides that I just don't think are going to kick on this season based on some of their business, but also just teams that I've placed above them that, in my opinion, have strengthened better. In 17th, I have Gary Caldwell's Wigan. And then in 16th place, I have Michael Duff's Wycombe Wanderers. In terms of these predictions, I judge a side on how much they've improved their weaknesses in the window and how well positioned they look to attack and improve their position this campaign. And this Wigan side last season were full of inconsistencies. Of course, Gary Caldwell coming in mid-season, he couldn't improve all of those, but there were lots of inconsistencies. And from their business, from their squad at face value, I just don't think they're going to improve from that 16th place finish last season. And unfortunately, I just think this is where this Wigan side is currently resigned to, that 16th to 17th position in the table. And I just don't see them improving from that. But I don't see them dipping. I see them kind of staying where they are at the moment. And then for Michael Duff's Wigan, it's a bit tough really because I just think there's 15 better teams in the league. And that's why I've put them 16th. But also to the fact that I just don't think their business is as groundbreaking as teams that they're competing with. I've put this Wycombe side in 16th. But that's a credit to the quality of the league. In 15th, I have Blackpool. Another interesting season, I think, for Ian Everett's side. I think they definitely could build on the back end of last season's form, where they were fantastic and electric at home. They've brought in Ilmari Niskanen, who will provide lots of qualities out wide. Karoy Anderson returns in midfield. Jordan Williams is there. But then there's the other side, where Dion Charles has been brought in. Quite a gamble, in my opinion. Someone who really hasn't hit the ground running in the last few years. His numbers are quite poor. That so it shows a lack of ambition, maybe, in my opinion. And I just think in the Blackpool fan base, there was a few hostilities around Ian Evatt, his identity, his approach, maybe his relationship with a few players as well. And the fact that are Blackpool heading in the right direction, we will see this season. I think it's very mixed. So I think 15th for me. In 14th, I've got Grant McCann's Doncaster Rovers, and I've actually been really impressed with their transfer window. They've, of course, lost Luke Molyneux, which definitely is a huge, huge loss and probably justifies my positioning a little bit. But they've replaced him with Jordan Thomas, definitely a good buy. You've got the likes of Alfie May, Isaac Hutchinson, Tommy Simpkin as well in goal. Good loan signing as well, good young goalkeeper. But for me, I think this Doncaster side are definitely one on the up under Grant McCann, but I think it might be a year too early for them to crack the top 10. I think this is definitely a step forward. Their transfer window they've had, but I think they need another window or another year to build on it. I think this Doncaster side are definitely on the up. They're in transition at the moment. I think a solid mid-table finish for them. Definitely a side to watch in the future. They could push on up to that top half. In 13th, I have Richie Wellens' Leyton Orient. And to be fair, last year, it couldn't have got much worse for them. I mean, a disjointed changing room. Results were terrible, quite frankly. And last year, they stayed up by the skin of their teeth. 14 wins, 71 goals conceded, minus 12 goal difference. And they survived by 3 points, only 52 gained. And they were so inconsistent. This year, I think they've strengthened much better in the transfer window. The likes of Amanda Dobra coming in, Yusuf Akramich, some really exciting players that have really impressed at League 2 level. Isaac Hayden coming in, some really good experience in the middle of the park. I think a 13th finish for this side this season would be a fantastic improvement. And it's where they should be. You know, they have got quality players and they've got a manager who, yes, is controversial, but you've got to give credit to him. He knows how to manage in that top half of the division. From now on, from 12 players to sides that I definitely think could have that opportunity of cracking the top half even further, maybe, as we saw last year in 12th, is my team, Stevenage. I think, especially with the competitiveness and the quality of the division this season, it's much tougher than last year and seasons before. I think 12th would be a very positive season for us. We look fantastic at the back. We look decent with options in midfield. Out wide, I think even with the 3-5-2 coming in this year, we look even better in transition and on the ball. But, of course, it's just that front line. And it's just that partner to Jamie Reid that would place us even higher, in my opinion. Of course, we finished 6th last season. If we had that striker that contributes goals, that produces to the output that Jamie Reid does, I mean, I would place us even higher. But for that reason, I think I can't. So for me, 12th, but a really solid season, in my opinion, if that was to be the case. 12th for my club. In 11th, I have Oxford United under Aaron Ramsey after being relegated from the Championship last season. And of course, this side is under a transfer embargo. They can't buy players and they can't even sign players. So anyone's guess for where this side are going to finish this season. I have them just around that mid-table area based on the quality they have in the squad. They've still got the likes of Cameron Brannigan. Their backline for this level is fantastic. And yes, they can't replace the players that will depart the club, but I think they've got enough quality, in my opinion. And Aaron Ramsey, a manager that, you know, could build on the likes of what we've seen from Jack Wilshere at Luton. In 10th position, I have Reading under Liam Richardson this campaign. They finished 12th last year, and of course, I think Royals fans will be disappointed because they definitely should have had a crack at playoffs last season, but their back end of the season just wasn't good enough to sustain and achieve that place. I think this year, honestly, they've brought in some fantastic additions. The 4 first-team additions are Jacob Brown, Adoka Godwin-Malief, bringing that experience and leadership at the back. And then 2 really decent additions in Kyrese Lisby, who really impressed with Colchester last year. And then Josh Stokes, who, as we know, has impressed a lot in League One with Cambridge and also last year with Stockport. I have them 10th because I think they need some reinforcements up top and maybe some quality to even try and partner Lewis Wing in the middle of the park. And then, yeah, Liam Richardson, I think that, you know, I'm not sure if he's well liked or well touted in the Reading fan base because of the back end of last season and their form that they had. So I think he's got some points to prove this campaign. Will he be the man to get the success out of this very talented squad? In my opinion, this Reading side should be challenging at the top. Is Liam Richardson the man? I don't think so, in my opinion, and this is why I have them missing out again and in 10th despite a really positive transfer window. In 9th place is maybe a hot take, but I have Nigel Clough's Mansfield Town, who I think this campaign really could be up there and really could have a shout of even cracking playoffs. I've been really impressed with the 3 additions they've brought in. Jonathan Russell was fantastic in the spell he had last year with the Stags. And then the 2 attacking reinforcements, of course, are ageing, but they bring in lots of experience and lots of goals. David McGoldrick, he again will get goals in this division and he will perform. Michael Smith will as well, brought in from Preston. Those 2 will fire in goals this campaign. The spells they had last season were electrifying. The goals they scored, they were so free-flowing, but they're also a really efficient side that do not concede many goals, a really underrated back line, and the side that Nigel Clough has crafted together, they always go under the radar, and they're always touted for that mid-table area. I don't think so this campaign. I think this is the season where they kick on, and they really make a stake for that top half. And 9th place is where I find them, really. I think it'll be a top campaign for Nigel Clough's Mansfield Town. One that may surprise a few people in 8th place, I have Martin Drury's Huddersfield Town. And the manager himself is probably the reason why I have them as far down as a lot of people might not. It's because of his inexperience at this level, I think. And it is a Huddersfield side that need a turnaround, definitely. Will he be the man to provide that? In his first season, is that too much of an ask? I think it maybe is. 8th place in his first campaign, I think would be fantastic, you know. But they've had a really decent transfer window, I think. Matt Young is a really promising young goalkeeper, maybe one of the most promising in the EFL. You've got Ashley Fletcher from Blackpool, who will bring in a decent amount of goals, definitely. Joe Taylor's back, Tommy Orpenda's back. It's a squad that should be competing at that top level. They've got quality in every position, and it's a side that is a big strengthening from last year, if you know what I mean. And then 2 exciting additions, brought in from Excelsior in the Eredivisie. You've got Sanchez Fernandez, an exciting looking right winger who could set this division alight next season. And then Elias Bonkhorst, who looks very decent at right back. I think this Huddersfield side has all the quality to go and challenge, but it's the inexperience of their manager, in my opinion. Now, this one was so tough between 7th and 6th place. Who's going to get that last playoff spot? And for me, it was between Bradford City and Stockport County. And I've put Bradford City in 7th place, missing out on the playoffs this season. For me, are Graham Alexander's side, and that is despite having an unbelievable transfer window, in my opinion, strengthening an already fantastic side. They've got Callum Connolly brought in, John McCracken, Jake Beasley, Adam Phillips. Some fantastic additions. I just think that there's 6 better sides, in my opinion. I may be extremely wrong, but I have Bradford just missing out on the playoffs in 7th place. In 6th place then, I have Stockport County, and they also have a new manager in Jimmy McNulty, but he's a man who's tasted success recently with Rochdale. He's also brought in one of his former men in Kyron Gordon at the back, who looks to be a really exciting signing. And Stockport's business has really been fantastic, in my opinion. Ryan Glover is an outstanding addition. He was unbelievable at Barnet last year. Then Ben Osborne coming in on a 1-year deal back at the club after last season's spell. That is an extremely underrated addition. And it's furnishing a side who have got so much quality all around the board. They just have to be in those playoffs, in my opinion. They've still got Ollie Norwood. They've still got Adama Sidibe up top. What an unbelievable player he could be this season after his spell at the back end of last year. Yeah, I think the Stockport side will continue their trajectory, especially even under a new manager with Dave Challoner departing. But the playoff finalists from last year getting the playoffs for me. Now, throughout this transfer window, it's been hard to ignore the monstrous business and recruitment from Paul Warren's MK Dons. Some unbelievable transfers all across the board, adding to an already experienced and stacked side at League 2 level. They brought in the likes of Charlie Good, Ryan Wintle, who was Cardiff's Player of the Season as they got promoted from League 1 last year. Sam Nombe partners Callum Patterson up top. They've got the likes of Alex Gilby, who captains the side as well. It's a stacked squad. And they're looking like a League One All-Star 11, in my opinion. Realistically, I think they will finish 5th. I see a lot of people putting them in the automatic places, and, it's hard to disagree with that, really. It's hard to ignore their business. Realistically, I think the transition from League 2 to League 1 is still big, even for a side of this quality, and a manager who knows how to get out of this division as well. I have them 5th. I have them getting in those playoffs, definitely, and you could definitely put them higher. I have them in 5th. In 4th place, I have Jack Wilshere's Luton Town, who are definitely facilitating a promotion push and a side that belongs in that automatic conversation, in my opinion. I've got them also as my playoff winners, definitely. I just think they will build on the form that we saw from them last season, which was unbelievable, really. It was unbelievable, and they were so harsh to miss out on that playoff place. We, of course, nicked it, which I was absolutely buzzing with. But the squad that they've got this season is fantastic. All across the board, they look unbelievable. I think, firstly, you have to start off with the additions of Gideon Kadoa and Casey Palmer. And I'll throw Jordan Clark also into that conversation. Players that have signed on back at the club for this campaign. Those are the most important additions, definitely. Huge players in League One who, will win games single-handedly. And then you've got the likes of George Johnston, Callum Marshall, announced in the last few days, big addition up top as well, and Harrison Ashby as well at fullback. But these additions are just polishing off a squad that look unbelievable and look stacked in every area. And I think this side will push on and will get promoted. In 4th place, playoff winners. Jack Wilshere is really starting to find his identity as a manager in League One. And we saw the successes of it at the back end of last year. And I just think this campaign with the squad, he's got everything at his disposal. This Luton side will get promoted, in my opinion, through the playoffs. Then I will run through my top 3 for you. Just missing out on the automatic promotion spot is Tom Cleverley's Plymouth Argyle, who have strengthened fantastically in the window. They really have some really good additions. Alex Mitchell, for me, is one of the signings of the summer. And they are regaining their backbone, their colossus at the back. And it was already fantastic defence before he returned on a permanent deal. And then they've got Harvey White in midfield, who partners Malaki Boatan, who had a really outstanding campaign last year. That's a really good dynamic in midfield. And they've also got, of course, Ronan Curtis, who's a genius, really, at League One level. Just a big question mark for me is, of course, their forward line. They've lost Lawrence Olai, but I do think they've definitely replaced him with the fee that they got, which was nearly $5 million. Bim Pepple, I think, will also depart this month. But again, I think they'll be able to replace him with how good their recruitment's been. And I just think this side was so good last season. They were comfortably, for 30 games, the third best side in the league, behind Cardiff and Lincoln, who of course ended up both getting promoted. I think Tom Cleverley has this side playing some excellent football. They're really flexible, they're fluid, they've got everything in their side to mount a promotion push. They've just got to replace in that forward line. And then I think they're a perfect team. Then in 2nd place, getting straight back promoted to the Championship, is Sheffield Wednesday. And it's been a complete change of mood, hasn't it? From achieving 0 points last season, all those point deductions, all that turmoil last year, to coming into this campaign after this pre-season, this transfer window, which has been absolutely phenomenal. And there is a sense of optimism around the club. And, it's hard to ignore the business that they have done. The likes of Louis Bowie coming in, Bowie Bannon returns, some really good reinforcements at the back as well. But then this midfield that they have recruited this summer, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And Billy Mitchell is Championship level. And then Callum Slattery in that 10 position will add so much quality to this side. As if they need any more. Honestly, this side is looking stacked and I think nailed on autos. Contender and promotion winner, in my opinion, in 2nd place. Only behind one team, which is Leicester City, who are my outright League One winners for this campaign. And for me, there's a lot of factors leaning towards why that will be the case. Firstly, their incomings. Connor Chaplin is a ridiculous signing for League One level. He will hit the ground running immediately. Alex McCarthy, a lot of experience in goal, and that's probably what this side needs, especially after that back-to-back relegation. But then the likes of Liam Cullen, Championship level. Tommy Watson scored that goal to win Sunderland the Championship playoff final last year. And then factor 2 is the net profit they've made from sales. The likes of Abdel Fattawu, El Kanous, Jeremy Monga have all totaled nearly 50 million in terms of sales this summer. Then Patson Daka, Victor Christensen, Harry Winks, the likes of those, Deadwood have been moved on, which is music to a lot of fans' ears at the Foxes, definitely. But then also another factor is this is a great foundation and opportunity for a lot of young players and youth products in this Leicester side and in their academy to thrive. Because they've got a lot of players in the EFL, the likes of Jake Evans, the likes of Sammy Braybrook, that will be given huge opportunities in this side. It's the perfect breeding ground for these young players to thrive and really take big roles in this Leicester team. In this new age, really, of Leicester City, which it has to be, really. So, for me, they are outright winners. I don't think you can ignore them. This mix of really good incomings they've brought in, some fantastic net profit, the youth players that will be given opportunity. I think it's so hard to ignore this Leicester side. They are my outright winners for League One alongside Sheffield Wednesday. And there you have it. Those are my League One predictions from 24-1, all done with Leicester City winning the league, Sheffield Wednesday in second place. My playoff winners are Luton Town, and the 4 sides going down for me are Notts County, AFC Wimbledon, Burton Albion and Peterborough United. Nearly forgot it there. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Do you agree with mine? Let me know. Drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and the follow on TikTok would be much, much appreciated. Thanks, guys. On to the next one.